Okay.
As you can tell by my shirt. It was my first shirt and my last shirt. Hello, everyone. How's it going? We'll say hello to everyone in the chat. We have the lovely Dave with us. Daze. It technically is Dave.
Hello, hello.
Hello, William.
Great.
Hello,
Great to be
Austin.
here.
Hello, Crossover. Hello, Dark Knight. Hello, James. Hello, Jellyhead.
Hello.
It's just the same names going over and over again. Oh, hello, Moldy Spoon.
Hello.
Hello, Heather.
Moldy. Hello, Heather.
There you go. It's something we do. I like reading all the chats. As I always say, you are nothing without your fan base or the people that watch you. So it's always good to.
I never say that.
No, you don't know.
No, I don't believe in that at all. I think I am pretty much everything. So
you are. This is why we super chat you, Daze. Like, if you want Daze's attention, just super chat him.
Yeah. To be honest, that does get a bit frustrating because I do want to try and get to as many comments as possible. But I think everyone knows by now that once I go off on a tangent, that's it. I'm gone for about 15 minutes. So, yeah, that's probably something that I need to work on. I'll put that down for next year's New Year's resolution. Don't spend as long on answers.
Well, we figured out the first hour is your hour.
Yeah. It's never intended to be that way, actually. That's not what it's meant to be, but it has sort of become that. But I think it's because there's such big kind of talking points that go on that first hour, I feel like a lot of people probably have the same questions. So I sort of feel like we end up spending quite a long time on those topics because those are the topics that people want to talk about. I could be wrong at certain times, of course, and we could spend 15, 20 minutes on something that no one else is interested in. So, yeah, that is something that I definitely need to work on. But no, it's good. I like it. I mean, I started doing that hour before because I really wanted to build the community. And I think that hour before played a massive part in the growth of the community. Because I think if it was just the watch-alongs and we were only doing the watch-alongs, I think that there's so much that happens like during the show, it would be very difficult to kind of give the community the time that we try to. So that hour before, I think, was a big part in like why the streams went on to be a success. So yeah, I need to try and get back to chatting to as many different people and answering as many different things as possible.
I have also noticed you've got a different beanie on today. The last couple of streams you've been matching your beanie, your beard, and your shirt. It's all been grey.
The beard, definitely. Yeah, I have a few. To be honest, what they tend to do is just lie around. I actually don't know. I was going to see if there was one about. I don't think there is. Oh, there is. So, like, there's one there that I've just got on the floor down here. Like, they tend to just be around this area. So it's never planned. It's never like, oh, I think I'll wear all grey today. It's like, what's the first one that I literally get my hands on? So yeah, I've got literally about 4, and that's about it. Like, to be honest, they're probably going to go on the Christmas list, like a few more, because I just never. I've actually had delays to streams because I cannot find a beanie, which is just the worst thing in the world. When, like, if you think about, like, we've just been talking about technical difficulties and about, like, you know, PC problems, microphone problems, camera problems. There have been streams in the past where all of that has been fine, but I've still been 5 minutes late because I can't find a beanie, which is just ridiculous, isn't it? But when your hair is out here like this and out here like this, like, you look at yourself and you go, there is no way that I can go on stream looking like that. So yeah, I probably do need a few more. Have you got your Christmas list sorted?
Boxes, socks, and links. That's all I ask for every year. If I get anything else, then it's a bonus.
Is that not just boring, though?
It is, but it's simple. Because then, like, if you ask for stuff, like, say I ask for, I don't know, a new game, and you don't get it, you're going to be disappointed. So if you ask for the simple stuff, you're not going to be disappointed.
That's true. That's true. I always think, though, that, like, Christmas, I feel, is like a special time of the year. And I think, like, to celebrate, like, you know, Jesus and everything that happened there, by getting some boxers. I don't know if that is that paying the Lord the respect that he deserves.
But does he deserve respect?
Well, to be honest, I don't really care. I am more interested in me getting something very interesting for Christmas. That's what I want, really. To be truthful, I don't really want to open it up and just have some boxes. Because the thing is, if you get boxes, if you get links or whatever, you know that you're going to wear them. You know that you're going to use it. But that's for the future. I am someone that at Christmas likes something that I can do there and then. Do you know what? I actually went onto this website the other day, which was called Not on the High Street. And it was all this kind of weird stuff that you can get that's not available in high street stores. Or it probably is, but you'd have to really look for it. And they had these matchboxes. And when you open the matchbox, there was a little game inside. So it might be some kind of puzzle, like a wooden puzzle that you've got to try and solve. Or it might be like a little tiny board game, or it might be like a little miniature something. Apparently, they have them at weddings. So if you go to a wedding, everyone would get their own little matchbox, and inside is, a little something. I looked at them, I was like, man, that's me. That is. I would absolutely love one of them for Christmas. You just literally just something you can open. It was only about £5, $5, something like this. You open it, and you've got something to mess with straight away. That's totally me. I couldn't cope with just having some links or having some boxes. I'd be like, thanks.
Well, at least you're going to smell nice all year round. Or until
Yeah,
they
but
run out.
that doesn't bother me, does it? I live in a basement.
Well, I'm the same. Well, I don't live in the basement, but I'm the same. I don't go out, but it's still good to make you smell nice. We'll get it out at the end.
Not interested. I'd much rather have a little finicky thing like this, a little thing that I can mess around with. That's just putting it out there. Just putting it out there.
So on Daze's wish list is something little to play with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Something that's really hard but little to work with. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's high on my wish list for from Santa. So so you was talking to me just about how you're a massive Evil Uno fan. Can I ask a question as to when did this start?
It started at when they first came into AEW.
Okay.
When they first came in, it wasn't the greatest entrance.
When they had creepers, do you remember that?
Yeah, when they had creepers, this is how I fell in love with him. I thought, who is this guy with Stu Grayson?
Do you want to be one of his creepers?
Oh, I want to be more than one of his creepers.
So you because they used to be called Super Smash Brothers, didn't they?
Yeah. Here's a match for you to watch: Super Smash Brothers, Young Bucks, and Cole and O'Reilly. It's a ladder match.
Okay.
It's one of the best.
Is that like a Ring of Honor?
I think it's on the Indies, maybe PCW, something like that. It's one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Oh, okay.
It's what made me a very big fan of them, because every time I see a new wrestler, I'll always Google to see if they're any good. And that match, it just made me fall in love with them.
Don't you think his promo style doesn't fit his character though?
When he first started, yes, but now, no.
Okay.
Because the character he's just a fun, lovable manager that manages the Dark Order.
Is he the manager?
He's the original owner, him and Stu Grayson. I am Dark Order member 172.
Oh, right, yeah, because they were join the darkorder.com. Yeah, I remember. That was good. I loved them vignettes, Those vignettes, I thought they could do something with that. But because do you remember there was a dude that was on the subway?
Yeah.
And the thing came on the screen, and he was watching, and it was all like, come and join us here at the Dark Order, and all of that. And there was a little campaign. And I remember doing some videos on it saying, is this going to be AEW's Firefly Funhouse? Come and join us type thing. And obviously it all built to the Exalted one coming in, which turned out to be Brody Lee, which was a great reveal. But to be honest, I really feel like I missed out on the best of the Dark Order, because I think the best of the Dark Order was being the Elite or whatever, when they were
absolute
hitting
fantastic,
each other. Yeah. I missed all of. I wasn't watching that, so I missed out on all of that. So when Brody passed away, that's when they were showing some of the best Dark Order moments, and a good chunk of them were those kind of hitting each other with bits of
Yeah.
paper.
With a Wilhelm scream. Well, I've got a fun little fact if you didn't know. When before Brody Lee came in, they were talking about who was going to be the Exalted One. Matt Hardy's name came up quite a lot, and Uno and Stu, since they are like the original members and started the group, they were like, "Oh, we don't mind Matt Hardy." Then Brody Lee's name came to him, and like, because they've already wrestled with him before back on the Indies, they asked him, and he said, "Yeah, 100%, I want to be in there. Let's do it, boys." And then that's how he got in. Uno and that talked to Tony, and he was like, "Come on then, let's do it."
Yeah, I feel sorry for him in a way because I feel like what sort of hurt them, I suppose not so much now, but more so at the start, was that they were positioned as this quite scary group, and it was meant to be quite dark, and the creepers would come out, and he would. Do you remember, like, they used to form a throne, didn't they? And he used to sit on that throne. He used to sit on them, and they really positioned him as like this kind of
leader and
dark leader, overlords. Sort of like he's got a throne, but a throne made of people, which is so cool.
Did you know that the throne made of people were his own students?
I didn't even know he was a teacher. No.
Yeah. Him and Stu have a wrestling school in Canada. That's where they're both from, and they wanted to get. They wanted some of their students on there, and they paid for everything for them to come over everywhere they went.
Right. Wow. Wow, no, I didn't know that. So that was cool, like the throne and everything. I was on board with it when it was quite dark and everything. And then I can't remember quite how it changed, but it did start to change. I think, to be honest, they just were being jobbed out.
Yeah.
And then I think we started to see them like doing more comedy stuff. And I think the comedy stuff was probably playing out on Being the Elite. And there was like this change, and it was just really hard to know what they were now. Do you know what I mean? Like they clearly were not being booked like the serious threat they were at the start. Now they were doing comedy stuff, and it just, if you go from being super serious to comedy stuff without a very clear explanation as to why, it just feels like a fall from grace. I felt, and it just felt like, right, what we tried didn't work, so now we've just got
to change her up and. But
then
they became over as Rover, and then.
But then they got super over. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, then they got super over. But then I never felt like they pulled the trigger when they were super over either.
They should have. No, 100%. I agree with you there. 100%. Like they should have. It's one of my disappointments. Now they're taking all the Dark Order members away.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I feel like they had two opportunities with the Dark Order when they were super serious, super dark. I don't feel like we explored enough of that, but I can only think the ratings told Tony that it just wasn't working and it wasn't the right direction. And so I think he probably, kind of pushed them to the back burner, and they, I don't know, took it upon themselves to create something out of nothing. And they did, and they got super over again. And then we didn't pull the trigger again. So I agree. I feel like we've just constantly missed the boat with the Dark Order. I remember one of my favorite moments from AEW. Do you remember when Hangman came out and they were trying to recruit him, and they were asked him for the answer?
Like a big marriage proposal. I was like, no.
That was brilliant. He came out and they thought he was going to say yes. He ended up saying no, but they'd preempted it, and there was like, he said yes on the screen, and they're coming out dancing, and they're like, no, go back, go back, go back. He said no. Yeah, I really felt, and like that really helped Hangman as well.
Yeah, like I think the original plan was for him and Brody to feud, because there was Hinklings on Being the Elite,
right?
Because like you said, one of the paper incidents was Hangman was talking about the website, the darkorder.com, and then as Evil Lou knows the admin, as he calls himself, he just walked into the room and took the paper at him. Why didn't you tell me Hangman Adam Page to try to sign up for us?
Nice. Nice. That feud would have been really interesting. It's so heartbreaking. I mean, obviously just heartbreaking that Brody passed away anyway, but heartbreaking to think that there was so many feuds and so many great stories that we just never got to. And the one that always kind of sticks in my throat a bit is the fact he never got to wrestle in front of fans.
Yeah.
He actually joined, I think I saw not long ago, on the first pandemic show. It was the first show that we didn't have fans, and the pandemic had hit and lockdown had hit. That show is when Brody comes in, and by the time he passes away in December of 2020, we still haven't come out of the lockdown.
No, his original plan was for him to debut in his hometown.
Yeah, imagine that, man. I need of all the wrestlers that deserve that moment.
Yeah, it was him. 100% it was.
Yeah, that's still a tough one to take, isn't it? Still real. I can't believe they were able to keep it so quiet and everything as well. I mean, I think that won AEW a lot of goodwill, a lot of there was a lot of support for AEW following that, because I think they respected him and his family just beyond belief. How that never came out, because they knew for a long time that he wasn't well. And everyone kept their mouth shut. No one said anything to the dirt sheets. And in this day and age, that's just How does that happen?
According to CM Punk, the Young Bucks are good friends with the dirt sheets and tell them everything. According to CM Punk and his pipe bomb, or whatever you want to call it.
What's your take on the whole CM? But I saw Ace Steel was let go.
Honestly, I think he's a dick.
Okay.
I understand Hangman Adam Page shouldn't have said what he said, but why did Hangman Adam Page say that? What did he notice backstage for him to say that?
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't have he doesn't seem that type of guy just to say something for no reason. I feel he had to have been pushed for a reason.
Yeah.
And then he said it, and then CM Punk spat his dummy out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point, actually, because I feel like the book tends to stop with Hangman. I mean, Hangman is definitely got to take his share of the blame for me, because he escalated it.
Oh yeah,
you know, he might have seen some at backstage, but to do what he did not de-escalate the situation. It obviously put petrol all over it, right? So he has to take his share of the blame. But it's a very interesting point that you make. Clearly, something wound up at a Hangman Adam Page to the point that was, where he felt he had to do that. So, maybe there was a misjudgment there. Whether he would do it again or not, I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, what a mess! What a mess! I was reading though that they're feeling a bit more confident that things could find a way forwards. So I read that the other day, because there was been a lot of talk about legal kind of stuff, and obviously that's getting very, very messy then, isn't it? So, but hopefully they can kind of back away from that.
I hope so, because to be fair, right, they spent 5 weeks over $1 million without the top. We can say the top stars without the top stars.
Yeah.
So, do they really need them?
I think they might need them for growth. I think, like, if you're gonna, because my feeling is that if you're going to get to that 1.4, 1.5 level, and get there consistently, you're gonna need as much star power as possible. But you're gonna need a big story. There's got to be a big story, and in all fairness, they might not need them for it, because they've already got someone that's capable of providing that big story, and that's MJF.
Yeah, agreed.
So, we during our watch-alongs, like I always say, that WCW really got going when NWO was formed, and Hogan turned heel. And actually, when Hogan comes in '94, we don't talk about WCW beating WWF in '94, because he comes in and definitely moves the dial, and gets them a bit closer. But it's not until he turns heel and we get the New World Order and we get Hall and Nash and all of that kind of stuff that they start then beating WWF. So it feels to me like they do need certain stars, and they're going to need as much star power as possible. but they need that big story that grabs mainstream attention. And I think personally, I mean, I don't know about you, I think that they were going for that with the whole MJF walking out thing. I
Yeah.
think that was their attempt at trying to get that story and trying to grab attention. You know, AEW's biggest star or one of the biggest stars is talking about competition. A rival company is threatening to walk out, has walked out on the show. And, you know, there was definitely a lot of buzz around that. It's just that Vince then walked away not too
Yeah.
long after from WWE, and
Do you
everyone forgot
think
about
that was a
MJF.
ploy by Vince, or do you think it was just something that naturally happened? Because this was AEW's biggest story.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good point actually, because I don't think it was a ploy by Vince, but the timing is very interesting. Um, it's all to do though with the leak, isn't it? There was a leak to the Wall Street Journal from within WWE, and that Wall Street Journal article is what
Yeah,
blows
that was
everything
something.
open. So um, it's really who leaked it and why did they leak it at that point, and whether that connects with AEW or not. My feeling is it probably doesn't. That it's probably not connected to what AEW doing at the time. But I do agree the timing is very, very interesting because that was their big shot, really. That was, I think they tried a few things in the past. Like obviously they tried Stadium Stampede and they tried Elite against Inner Circle, which was a big kind of faction war that they'd had. They'd tried a few different champions as well, crowning, you know, different people. So they'd tried a few things, but it never resulted in the numbers really moving anywhere significant. This whole MJF walking out felt a little different to me. It really had everyone's attention. It felt like it was sort of a bit bigger than even AEW itself. Like it was just everyone was talking about it. And then Vince ends up leaving WWE and it all goes away. I was thinking about this, you know, when MJF goes away, it's overshadowed by Vince leaving. When MJF comes back, it's, I believe, the same night as the post scrum.
As CM Punk spits his dummy out.
That's right. So completely overshadowed.
Yeah.
And then his promo on Wednesday, which was him and William Regal, completely overshadowed by Hangman Page's injury. All anyone was talking about afterwards was Hangman Page getting injured. MJF keeps coming up with these big moments and these big segments, and it's just constantly getting overshadowed by someone else. I feel really sorry for him. He must be so frustrated.
Are just out for him. They just don't want him to succeed. So Hangman Page's injury, it was scripted. They were like, he's going to do this massive promo, we'll injure him, and then that's a bigger talking point.
What was your thoughts on the MJF promo with William Regal?
Oh, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. I was in your chat at the time, and a lot of people were saying it was too long, or MJF was talking about WWE. But usually when AEW talk about WWE, they're slagging them off.
Yeah.
Where MJF wasn't, was he really? He was just talking about his experiences and stuff, which is kind of different.
I got one criticism with it. I think it's very compelling. I think that it's I mean, I feel like compelling is the word. I feel like it's a segment that you need to watch and you're going to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone can deny that it wasn't captivating, compelling television. My one criticism that I've got with it, which might ultimately turn out to not even be a criticism, but my one criticism I have with it is when you do a promo, you want that promo to achieve something. Now, most of the time when you do a promo, you want to set up excitement for a match. And you want to say, you know, I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to beat you up this Saturday at the Coliseum. What you're doing is you're basically doing a promo, telling people, I'm facing this person at this venue, at this time. And I'm going to beat him up because of this reason. Yeah. So a promo should be there to achieve something. This felt like it was a very real glimpse into a very real thing that happened in the past. But what it seemed to be succeeding in doing is it seemed to be succeeding in turning MJF face and William Regal heel. I know that William Regal did come back with a very good point, but I don't think that William Regal's comeback was as strong as MJF's initial point. I still felt my personal feeling at the end was I still felt that MJF had been badly treated by William Regal, and I actually ended up with sympathy for MJF at the end of that back and forth. I hated doing the watch along for that actually, because like it was so captivating and it was so deep and it was so rich that I had to listen to it. I couldn't be talking over the top. I had to like listen to it.
Yeah.
And I hate those big
silences.
Silence.
Yeah, you've got to fill them. Like when something captivates you, you have to like. Usually, if you watch it on your own, you can watch it and enjoy it. Where if you're streaming, you've got to try and fill the space with stuff. And also, chat. I am looking at you. You can have your own conversations.
It makes me feel uncomfortable when there's like that long silence. I think naturally I just have to try and like talk. So the more I was watching it, the longer it was going. I don't mind it being that long at all, but just from a streaming point of view, it was making me like, okay, like please hurry up, because I know I need to say something to people. And so like, you know, that was making me a little uncomfortable, but that's nothing to do with the promo. The promo was fantastic. But yeah, that's my only criticism, is that at the end of it, I had sympathy for MJF and I had a little bit of not resentment for William Regal, but I just thought that if that's what had happened, I didn't think that was the right way that he should have gone about it, by, you know, basically saying to a young kid, I really believe in you. Make sure that I can't bring you in right now because you're too young, but send me a match, send me a promo every month. He does that. And then on month number 3, William Regal sends him a really shirty email, which, do you know what I mean? Like, I understand William Regal saying back in the day, you had it easy because I had to do this, I had to do that. But just because he had it hard in the past shouldn't allow him to send an email like that to someone that's young.
But the real question is, was it him that actually sent that email?
He never said he didn't.
Yeah, but like, are they like not trying to break the illusion of the actual promo themselves? Because I thought of this when MJF said that. I was sat thinking, did William Regal actually send them emails, or was it someone else in the team?
Well, I mean, I can only go off William Regal's response, and his response wasn't to deny it. And what he said was, you got an email and you got off pretty light, sunshine. I had to do this, I had to do that. But this was my point, was that I just felt that just because he had it hard back in the day shouldn't mean that he's kind of sending an email to someone so young. You know, it'd be very simple to just send an email and say, look, I really appreciate you sending me these matches and promos. Sadly, I just don't have anything for you right now, but do this, do that. And, you know, point him in the right direction, you know, rather than some of the stuff MJF was relaying that William Regal had actually sent him, you know, I thought was, I mean, maybe it was designed to light a fire underneath him, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe William Regal was just, you know, having an off moment, sent a shirty email, and now he's trying to cover it up. Either way, I felt sympathy for MJF, and I felt that William Regal had been a bit off, if all of that was true and everything. I wasn't too keen on it. So this is my only criticism. My only criticism is, what was that promo meant to achieve? If it was that, it succeeded. If it was something different, it didn't hit the mark for me. It didn't do what it was meant to do. But what's really interesting, and the reason why we're talking about it, is later in the show, MJF comes down. Now, I know that Hangman has an injury, but MJF comes down to cash in his chip, which, I'll be perfectly honest, I had no idea you could do that. I said this in the watch-alongs. I had no idea that you could just cash that in at any time.
It's kind of like the briefcase, but it's not like the briefcase. You can cash it in any time you want.
Okay, so he goes in to tease and cash it in. Moxley is all blooded and battered and all of this. What's really interesting is that he doesn't capitalize on that moment. And I'm torn as to why. I can't figure out why. I can't figure out if it's because we're going to see an MJF face turn, right? And because he said, I want to beat you at your best. I want to prove that I can beat you at your best. I'm not going to do it now. He was stood there opposite John Moxley, who, his face was bleeding, isn't it always?
I will give him credit. 2 weeks in a row, he did not bleed.
Okay, 2 weeks. Well, that's over now.
Yeah, that's over. He's bled the last couple of weeks he's wrestled.
The streak's over. But it's like the Undertaker streak's been ended. But yeah, he got in and he was stood opposite Moxley and he was like, I'm not going to do it now because I want to beat you and I want to beat you when you're at your best. And he jumped out the ring. And that just made me think, if that promo earlier was the seed being planted for a face turn, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, right? It's a brilliant promo. And I'll say it's a brilliant promo anyway, because it was super captivating. But it just, I still don't know if it achieved what it was meant to have achieved. But if that was the seed for a face turn, then yeah, I've got no criticisms with the promo. Equally though, MJF might have got in the ring, looked over and seen Moxley and saw that Moxley was actually a little bit more with it than he wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be that. And actually, he might still be a heel, but he looked over at Moxley and thought, damn, you're not as beat up as I was hoping you was going to be. And so he's decided to go that way. So, yeah, I'm a bit torn on all of that stuff. But to be honest, with obviously no AEW stream yesterday, it's not something we've been able to like really talk about or get a team to. Yeah.
I told Austin this is completely out of left field. So the other week, I've recently moved back into my mother's, and my best friend helped me move. And it turns out that he might know one of Austin's favorite NXT wrestlers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was that?
I think Austin, tell me his name. I think it's Zion Quinn.
Zion Quinn? Oh, he loves Zion Quinn.
Yeah.
Well, how would he know him? Because he's not English, is he?
No, he's not English, I don't think.
Is he Australian or maybe New Zealand?
I have no idea, but he showed me that they follow each other on Instagram and they've had a couple of messages between them.
I should imagine Austin's desperately trying to achieve the exact same thing himself. Yeah, I'd imagine he's bombarding him every day.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me with Austin. No. The dirty bastard.
Perv. Absolute perv.
For James, we have told Daze he can swear. He's just choosing not to. He made a comment that you could say shitty earlier.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm just not a big swearer. I think it's because, like, I used to work in retail. So obviously, when you work in retail, when I was at like school and playing with friends and everything, to be honest, I don't think I really swore too much then, but I did swear. But like when you work in retail and you're just constantly around customers, I think that's something that just really went sort of by the wayside. It's just not really part of my makeup. I'm sure if I'm getting really frustrated, I would swear like a sailor, but day to day, no. Hey, did you see James's video, by the way?
What a voice of an angel.
Oh my God, he should do like Christmas #1. he could do like the snow, the music from the Snowman. I'm walking in the air. Yeah,
he really could.
He could. I think he did. What
Alan
if he is
Jones?
Alan Jones? Yeah, in disguise.
Just comes in our chats and swears like a trooper. But then that's a voice of an angel.
It is. Do you know when someone like a kid is hanging around like older boys and they like start swearing to come across like they're like one of the boys? Do you reckon that's what James does? Do you think James is like goes to church, like proper down to earth, really lovely guy, helps old ladies across the roads and all this? But when he jumps into the chat, he feels like, oh, okay, I need to fit in with these guys. F this, F that, F you all effers, you mother effers.
I can actually see James being like that, to be honest with you.
And then as he's typing it, like, yeah, I'll be down in a second.
Yes,
yeah,
lover.
Love you.
Yeah, I can see James being like that 100%.
I would love James Chadwick to do like regular videos on wrestling, but do it with like a church type background, and he's there in like all white attire, and he's like, welcome to James Chadwick's review of Raw. It was effing amazing. It was
Give it a nice 5 minutes of him being all nice and calm, and then once he gets to a bit he really likes, it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. F this, F that. This is my favourite effing moment. This is my effing moment of the week.
You're giving him ideas now.
But then he goes back at the end to go in. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the support. Be blessed.
That does sound like a perfect idea. So James, me and Daze want we want to cut if you ever get famous off that.
Yeah, 90%. 90% cut.
Yeah. 45 each, you can have 10.
No, he definitely should do more videos. All joking aside, it was very good.
It was very good.
It's very, very good. That's the great thing about our community, is that we've got such a creative community, and I mean, it would be great to try. I mean, like Dave and yourself are obviously brilliant at like sending things into the web, but I would love to try and just keep promoting some of the stuff that's out there. You know, I loved Casey, who sent in her clip the other week to the Wrestling Escape Pods.
Well, they spent like 3 weeks talking about a bookcase, so you definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. I love stuff like that, because I always feel that the community love it when the spotlight is obviously put onto the community. And also I think someone like Casey, who has been in the chat for a long time, but we don't really know much about, you know? So it's just a great way of like, I think the community enjoy it. It's obviously great for her, but as well, of course, it promotes that she's got that Instagram account that we showed on screen, where she does like book reviews and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that we could find something to have a bit of fun with as well. The fact she turned all the books the other way around, like that kind of thing I absolutely love, because I feel like it ticks quite a few boxes, if you will. Like it's achieving quite a few things. And I love that. I mean, most of the time when I'm doing the Wrestling Escape Pod, I'm constantly trying to find, how do we get to the next really interesting topic, or how do we get to the next bit of gold? Like, where's that coming from? And so, you know, all we do is go down blind alleyways again and again and again. But occasionally we will go down a road where there is a little bit of gold and there is something there, and then we can like chew over it.
And then you are attempting to sing Happy Birthday.
Yeah, I mean, that's the mountaintop for me. That's the absolute pinnacle. That is still, and it's been months now, the pinned tweet on the Wrestling Escape Pod account. I haven't got around to actually changing that, but for me, that's still the pinnacle. But again, you know, that's just a Discord call that resulted in what it resulted in. But I sort of love the wet for that, but I do find it a bit frustrating as well, because going into an hour-long stream without, I mean, this is easy because obviously we both watch wrestling, and so we know that we can talk forever about AEW, WWE, or whatever. But like with Tommy in particular, like he doesn't watch everything, so you know that the conversations there are going to be a little bit more limited, and so it does make it a bit difficult to go, right, what direction do we go down? What are we doing? Where do we find the gold? So yeah, the web is definitely something that I'm really having to like chew over at the moment to try and figure out. Like, we did the board game thing, and I really enjoyed that, because that genuinely is something that I have been looking into this week, and I thought I found some really interesting bits that I wanted to, like, you know,
you talk about and stuff.
And to be honest as well, I was hoping to get back loads of recommendations and like, oh yeah, I love this game, I love that game, and I don't know if it like really managed to achieve that, but in my mind, that's kind of what the web was hopefully going to achieve on Tuesday. But the web's always
can
at
I
its best.
Pause you a minute. James has asked, have you heard the news about Kevin Nash's son?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's horrific. To be honest, I woke up quite late today because I went I went to bed really late because I decided to do the UFC research a day early. So actually last night I was doing UFC research all night, and I'm the kind of person when I start something, I really want to get it finished. And so it meant that it was getting like quite late in the day. I mean, this morning was on when I was when I was thinking of going to bed. And obviously the conversation today has all been about the Prime Minister and all that kind of stuff. And even though I'm not really a political person,
so I don't really care.
No, same. I don't have like an allegiance to anyone. Obviously it's the Prime Minister, and so it's like big news and it's really interesting. So I was kind of like watching that as the reports were coming out that, well, she might not make it through the day and everything. But there was no way I was going to be able to stay up. So I ended up going to bed around lunchtime. So I'd been watching a bit distracted and doing UFC. And so it's about lunchtime by the time I went to bed. So that meant I didn't get up till about, I don't know, 7:30-ish, around that sort of kind of time, UK time. So probably been up for about 3 hours or so. So, yeah, and then obviously to wake up to, I needed to have something to eat. The news about the Prime Minister had gone.
Yeah.
I went onto Twitter and the first thing I saw was a message from X-Pac, Sean Walkman, saying, I'm so devastated for what's happened to my brother. And my first thought was that Kevin Nash had passed, actually. I thought Kevin Nash had passed away. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, what's happened? And then I went down and obviously saw the news about his brother. So yeah, it's horrific news. I don't know any details. I just know that he was in his 20s, I think. But I don't know how it's happened.
James, please let us know the age of the son, please.
I think he's about 26 is my guess.
26. James has just commented. Heavy. 26.
Yeah, awful. I don't know how it's happened. I mean, clearly it's got to be, I believe, some sort of accident or something, because you don't tend to pass away at the age of 26 without some kind of circumstance. So
no,
yeah,
you're right there. We'll go to something more light-hearted.
Thanks for that, James. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. What UFC match are you looking forward to the most?
That's a great question. To be honest, it's probably going to be the main event. I feel like Jan O'Malley, which is the Coco main event, that is for me going to be Jan. I think Jan's a fantastic fighter. I still can't understand how he didn't beat Aljamain Sterling, to be honest. He felt like he was in quite control in the first fight. Second fight, obviously the first fight, the illegal knee. Second fight, though, he got absolutely beaten. I mean, there was no two ways about it. Aljamain Sterling won, and I don't know. I'm still in a bit of confusion over it, to be honest. So I feel like he should be going into this against O'Malley, who's a great fighter, but he should be going in as a very firm favorite. And actually, he is, fairly decent favorite.
Is this the first time O'Malley's fought someone of note?
Yeah. I think he had one fight before, which was, I forget the name now, but it was against someone that was fairly decent, but not top 10. This is the first. I mean, Jan is ranked number 1, and O'Malley is ranked 11. So that kind of gives you an idea of. I mean, it's a mental matchmaking, in my opinion. It's balmy, but brilliant. It's brilliant because it's two of the biggest stars in the division going up against each other. But it's balmy because it's number 1 against number 11, and it feels like O'Malley should have had another couple of fights before he got to this point. I don't know that he's ready for this. He obviously thinks he is, but my opinion is this should be a win for Jan. And I think the reason I feel like, because I feel so confident on that, it's maybe dampening my excitement for the fight, and it shouldn't, because it's two of the biggest stars going up against each other. But I just feel so confident that Jan's gonna get it done.
I think he's going to annihilate him, if I'm honest.
Yeah. And then in the co-main event, you've got Aljamain Sterling taking on TJ Dillashaw. Now, we don't see Dillashaw all that often, so it's He's someone that's exciting, and he's someone that is definitely around the top end of the division. But I think because he's not coming off like some amazing win streak, and we've not seen loads of him.
Didn't he just
He,
come off a ban?
yeah. He has been. He did have a ban, yeah. But it feels like he is someone that I don't want to say is undeserving, because that's not quite true. But he's just a bit cold.
Yeah.
He's a bit
He's,
cold.
how long's he been out for? It's been at least a year, I think. I might be wrong on the things, but about a year.
Yeah, it might just be over. It might just be over, but yeah, it is. It is around that time frame. And as I said, for me, that one is going to be a great fight. It's two big names going up against each. This is a great card. No one is denying that. But we're talking about what's the fight you're most excited for, and I can give you a reason why it's not the Yarn fight, and I can give you a reason why it's not the Sterling fight. And so that leaves you with the main event. I do think that Caitlin Chikagian against Manon Fior, which is opening the main cards,
that looks good.
That's going to be a banger. Manon Fior, Chikagian's on like a 4-fight win streak. She's ranked number 1 in that division. Manon Fior is on a 9-fight win streak and has looked unstoppable. They collide at the start of the main card. That is my maybe dark horse of the night. That's maybe
well, with what the women have been doing lately in boxing, let's hope that they can do the same in UFC.
Yeah, I agree. It's so exciting actually seeing like women's sport explode in that way. I mean, I don't care about feminism and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not what does it for me. I just really enjoy watching and getting excited.
So I have a question for you, right? If you stream a lot, like, and you do a lot of watch alongs. If you find someone good looking, like as a woman or even a man, do you think it's acceptable for you to turn around and say, "Well, she's good looking," or "He's good looking"?
Yeah, I can't see why not. That's a positive thing to say.
Yeah,
I don't see.
As long as they do their job.
Yeah,
it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think if I said it the other day, actually, who did I say it about? I said it about someone. I can't remember who it was, and I was like, "Oh, she looks stunning here." I think it was. Oh God, it was during the boxing, and it was the co-main of the boxing Shields and Marshall.
Baumgardner. Mia, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, she was stunning her.
But Baumgardner came down, and she looked amazing. And I was like, man, she could do modeling. I mean, like, looks stunning. Like, it's a shame that she's about to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
I don't see. I mean, listen, maybe I'm out of touch. I have no idea. I don't see that as a negative. I don't see that as derogative. I don't see that as a problem. I don't see that as objectifying. I mean, I was there to watch her compete.
Yeah.
And watch, like, her perform as an athlete. And
her looks are a bonus, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it was just noteworthy. Do you know what I mean? Like, wow, she's stunning.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that. I think things are going to get pretty sad and bleak if you can't even make that. Maybe if you was like, oh, look at the rack on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a difference.
She's got massive tits.
Yeah, like that's a different level. I'd never go to those kind of stages, but
I do have a question for those wrestlers. Someone like Natalia, like I said this on the watch along a while ago. She must get worried that they don't pop out, because someone like Carmella and others who haven't got the size of hers have popped out a few times, so she must worry. Because no offense, right? You can't miss them, can you? Like, they're fucking huge.
The only thing I would say though is that maybe the bigger that they are, the less likely they are to actually come out, because they're so big that I don't know kind of what sort of movement there is there.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
So I would imagine that they're probably strapped down quite industrial a level. So I would imagine that there's not. I would imagine that it's every woman probably has that as a risk. But to be honest, I'm really quite against not in like a James Chadwick in Church type way,
Yeah.
but I'm really quite against everything being on show.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I don't think that's doing the women the service that they deserve. Because we're
I
meant
kind
to
of have a
be
counterpoint to that.
okay.
What if they are the ones asking for them skimpy outfits? Or what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that then, because that's their choice and
Yeah.
their freedom. But I don't think that's what's happening at the moment, because it's like every woman is pretty much being. I mean, have you noticed how every woman has got their ass out at the moment? Like the shorts are literally pulled right up, and you
wedgies.
can, yeah, and you can see pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I sort of feel like the way pro wrestling is at the moment is that yes, we do want to present women wrestlers being women's wrestlers. We don't want to go back to bra and panty matches, but we sort of want to get men watching as well. And we know the best way to do that is to have this showing, have that showing. And I mean, like, look at Nikita Lyons and, like, the following that she's got. And I sort of feel like I don't know.
They're aiming for the simps.
We're kind of trying to hit a middle ground. It's like we do want to have them in proper wrestling matches, which is fantastic, but we want them wearing this kind of stuff. And if that's their choice, then yeah, cool.
I
who
do
am I
think,
to say?
like, I'm thinking of two different people. You've got Mandy Rose. If you follow her on Instagram,
I
she
think
has skimpy outfits.
she would choose to do that. I think, yes, I don't have a problem with that.
And then you've got like Anna Jay and Ty Guerrera. Don't talk about them, but they are also now dressing up in skimpy outfits. But I think that's their choice as well.
Right.
That's my personal opinion on it.
Yeah, yeah. No, you make an excellent point. If it's their choice, then well, I ain't got no problem with it.
We can just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah. But my concern would be that they are at least encouraged. At least encouraged.
Yeah. I can sort of agree. There's definitely a little bit of asking there, more than like pushing it like completely.
Yeah, it's you just don't tend to see any women that are like really covered.
Nyla Rose.
That's a tricky situation, isn't it?
I wouldn't mind seeing her ass crack.
I think she has. I don't know if she has like gone more skimpy before. Now I'm saying that I can't think.
Someone said Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah, but come on, all she does is show off her back.
To be fair, that's all we need to see.
Oh,
as a back, that.
Don't you dare come round here suggesting that she's not showing off her sexy assets when she all she does is like this all the time.
I'm trying to think though.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, and I feel like Raquel's a good shout. Yeah, I feel like Raquel's a good shout. But I think the fact that, let's say there's not many, like Nyla Rose, Raquel, it's not like the most extensive of a list. So yeah, I mean, look, if it's what they want to do, fine. But if it's something that they're being more coerced into, then that's something that I would like to see change, to be honest.
I can sort of agree, but then the pervert inside of me is like, no, don't change it at all.
I can tell that you're really struggling and wrestling with that.
Yeah, I really am.
I can tell that you do not want to go on record on the internet saying that you would like to see all the women covered up a lot more.
So we've got a new question. Connor has asked a question.
Questions.
Do you miss the football stream?
Yes and no. I really enjoyed doing them. I love football. I still try and catch it and watch it as and when I can. Certainly keeping up with the results. I think I love the excitement of doing something different as well. Like doing wrestling all the time is great, but as I've said many times with football and UFC, having a different flavor and having different conversations. I mean, at the moment in the wrestling world, it's just bray, or it has largely been. I mean, it's been lovely just to sit here and talk a bit about AEW, talk a bit about, whatever. And so I definitely miss the football for that. But I said before, it was very, very apparent. Maybe not early. I would say about mid-season and certainly the second part of the season. I just knew that if this is going to go anywhere, if we're going to grow this community, if this is going to be a thing that is worth keeping, then I need to do this 100%. You've got to do it 100%. You haven't just got other football channels. You've got about 1 million, but you've got channels that are dedicated to each individual team, which I already knew. But that makes it very difficult, because then if you're doing a game, not only are you competing against other people that are doing that game, you're competing against specific fan channels who have got communities built on the teams that you are covering, right? How do you grow that community if you're only doing 2-3 matches a week? Like, you have got to do not only the watch-alongs, but you have got to do the kits. You got to talk about transfers. You got to talk about the players. You got to do the news. You got to do it 100%. So, yeah, it's one of those where I did enjoy it, but I am very clear and I understand why it was not sustainable.
I sort of get that. I'm just currently reading the chat that's talking about Bray's new attire, which is going to be a very sexy outfit.
Oh, well, listen, you know my feelings. As long as that's what he wants, I'm down for it. Yeah, I'm down for it. If he's got the old baps out,
we do like male baps on this channel.
Old yowie and wowie, yeah.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Old hurt and heel.
Stevie G's been sacked.
Has he?
Yeah.
I did see the Fulham result, 3-0. That was good because I had Mitrovic as captain this week.
And he scored.
I was lucky though. I think it was a penalty.
Yeah, it was a penalty.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, that one, because Stevie G is someone that, I mean, he was obviously hoping to prove himself at Villa and then put himself in position for the Liverpool job. And I remember Edward saying to me that he hoped that's the way it was going to go. I think a lot of Liverpool fans wanted Stevie G to succeed at Villa so that he would be ready to slip in when Klopp did move on. So that's obviously scuppered those plans a bit. But yeah, it's such a shame. I mean, I feel like the Coutinho transfer didn't work out for him in the long run.
It's hit and miss, isn't it? It's like very hit and miss.
He's not someone that pops up with goals, assists. His general performance seems to be okay, but just he's not the revolutionary force that I think they were getting, considering he cost 100 and some million for. Was it Barcelona he came from?
Yeah, I think, didn't he cost them like 20 mil or something? Like Aston Villa
I think he cost Villa 20 mil, yeah. But obviously when you get him, you're still thinking about the 100 and some million that Barcelona paid for him. And when he came in, he did really well because I had him in my dream team. And when he first arrived, he was that revolutionary force. I remember the back end of last season. He provided some good goals and assist numbers, but this season it seems to have really fallen away, and he just hasn't featured in my dream team or many's, I don't think.
Here's a question with teams like Aston Villa. They bought a lot of people. Same with Nottingham Forest. Do you think it could be that they're waiting for the team to gel? Because look at West Ham, they bought a lot of players in, and now look at them. Like at the start of the season, kind of bad, but now they start to gel and they start to win games. And
yeah, I think the talent is there. I mean, if you look at a squads like I don't know, if you look at say Brentford or Brighton, and then compare that squad player for player with like a Villa or dare I say even a Nottingham Forest to a degree, I don't know that there's a great deal of difference. I feel like the squads are largely comparable. That's actually what makes the Premier League so exciting, is that you take form out of the equation. I don't know that you could look at a squad and say really that the Villa squad should be losing to a Brighton squad. Like they're fairly comparable. I can pick out some great players on both sides. If anything, you'd probably say that Villa are underperforming and that Brighton are overperforming. And maybe on paper, you might even say that Villa have got the better team. Maybe. I mean, if Coutinho was on fire and Ings is playing well and Watkins is doing well and Mings is a good player, we know that Man United were looking at John McGinn. There's a lot of respect for him in the middle of the park. They've got some great little youngsters. Ramsey, I think he's still there, isn't he? Who's doing really
playing
well.
Quite well.
Yeah. And I kind of look at that Villa squad and think that, you know, if they were on song, they should be in the top part of the table, actually, probably, you know, where Brighton are.
Brighton have been unreal this season.
They've been unreal, but they have lost Potter now.
Yeah, will that be the defining moment?
It's got to hurt. I can't see it being a case that it's not going to have an effect. So they've got great players, but I think those players were being maxed out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what more you can get out of them.
It depends how good this manager is. We do have a very special question. How much will the chat have to pay for you to do do SmackDown in a mankini?
I don't know that there'd be an amount, to be honest. I first of all, I don't own a mankini. That'll come as no surprise to anyone. Although, did you know that when you got Borat, when it first came out, there was a special edition that came with a mankini?
Yeah. The Borat mankini with the mustache on the crotch area.
Yeah, I did have one. So I did own one. But spoiler, I definitely no longer own one. So
that's what he's telling us.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm wearing it under this. Yeah, I don't know. I like to joke around and have fun and everything, but when it comes to like the dress up stuff, it's just not something that really has ever appealed. It's not something I've ever. Have you ever really gone for it for like Halloween and parties and stuff like that?
No, because I don't have like a good area to fill it, if that makes sense. In other words, my dick's not big enough to fill the thingy, so there's no point embarrassing myself.
Right. I mean, I wasn't even necessarily talking about that. I just meant in general about dressing up for like Halloween.
Dressing up, yes, but not in a mankini.
Okay. Not in a mankini, no. I mean, just to be clear, you didn't need to reveal what you just revealed there.
Well, we like revealing stuff on this.
It's out there now. It's out there now. Well, thankfully, it's not out there, but there we go.
Well, you can't see from what's down below.
Yeah, you've got a mankini on as well.
Yeah, that's all it is. I'm getting a bit of a wedgie, so I keep moving about, trying to wiggle it out my bum.
You could be a future women's champion then if you're sporting underwear that's going right up.
I'm just getting ready for it now. I'm not working on my in-ring skill, just my ass with the wedgie. That's all. Is
there any other questions? Because I do like the questions. There's some good stuff there. Feel free to ping them in.
Yeah, get the questions in. The main thing that everyone's really asking is who's going to take over Gerrard.
Who do you think?
Apparently, Poch is lined up. Poch.
Hey, this brings on to a very interesting. I was just about to see what the odds were, but you've actually just made me think now. Who do you think would take over England if Southgate goes after the World Cup?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a question for the chat as well.
Because Poch was in the running for that.
He might be a good international manager because some managers are better as international than they are actually thingies.
Did you hear who wants it?
Who? Redknapp.
And who's free?
Harry Redknapp?
No.
Oh, no, who?
It just used to be at a big club recently.
Jose? Tuchel?
No. Tuchel.
Wow. Do you know what? That would be pretty good.
He wants it, apparently.
Do you know what? If he does get it, it'd be a bit strange.
But it'd be very strange. Yeah.
I actually have a question for you myself. Okay. We've been talking a little bit. I say a little bit about women. But what do you think about having women managers in
Hmm.
bringing them into the male sport.
But like Miss Elizabeth.
Uh, no, like Emma Hayes, like at football, like
Oh, you're talking football.
football. Yeah, football,
I thought we'd gone back to wrestling
wrestling.
again. What do I think about bringing women's managers into the male game?
Yeah,
I think that they would need to show that they could operate at that level. I mean, I think that what's her name? Siegman, whatever her name
oh,
is,
the
that's
England manager.
England
Yeah,
manager. But I mean, there was like people making noises about wanting her to replace Gareth Southgate because obviously we just weren't at the Euros, the women, and so people obviously want the men to do well. But I feel like when you watch the women's game, it's you can tell. I mean, this is no disrespect, but you can tell that it is not Premier League level,
yeah.
and you can tell that it's still, several steps behind where the men's game is currently at. So I don't know if she could go to the men's game and have the impact that she has currently had with the women's team. I would not be against, and I think they should do it, seeing if she would want to go with the men to the World Cup as like a backroom
Staff,
sort of
so she can
staff,
be around it.
be around it, and just allow Southgate in those kind of moments late at night to just sit down and just throw a few ideas around and see where her head is at and what she sees. And he doesn't have to take it if he doesn't feel it's the right way forwards. But it would just be potentially an interesting sounding board and like just take her on those grounds. Like she doesn't need to be the manager, but great experience for
Yeah,
her. How is that not a great experience for her?
that'd
I
be
mean,
a
like that's
very great experience, to be honest with you.
yeah. I mean, I've got to think that that would be in her benefit, and if there was any benefit that it would bring to Gareth Southgate, how are we not just putting her on a plane? Like I don't know why we
Just
wouldn't do
stick
that.
a run there, just have her around.
Yeah. I'd definitely do that. So I feel like you probably need to go through those kind of steps first and for people to kind of get used to seeing the sort of
Yeah,
decisions that she would want to make for the men's game, seeing, kind of how she interacts and everything. And then ultimately, yes, I can see it happening. I can see it happening. But I don't know if we're quite there yet.
well, what I think is, if you're gonna get women in there, like you said, the games are different. So why don't you start them off at the low leagues?
Yeah.
Have them build the way up. Have them
I mean,
prove that they're on the same level.
spoiler: women are clearly as intelligent, if not more intelligent, than men. So
Yeah,
that is not the question. That's not the
no,
doubt. The doubt is that they have not been in the men's game yet. So if you let them in, you wouldn't just put them straight into the top leagues, into the that you just wouldn't do that. You wouldn't put them into the top leagues.
no.
You wouldn't have like them come in and take over Aston Villa now. You wouldn't have them take over Gareth Southgate now. You're absolutely right. Work in the lower leagues, work your way
Yeah.
through, progress up. And yeah, I've got no doubt that in the future we will see exactly that. Yeah.
James has asked, would you like to see a Lions versus Lionesses charity game?
That's a great question. Um,
I'll say no because the men would destroy them.
I'm leaning towards no. Just yeah, yeah, and also just like the physicality of it
Yeah,
because like the women are not going to be able to compete for the ball equal on an equal footing, are they? Like if you've got a guy that's charging at you, like trying to win a tackle or whatever, he's going to be able to win those 50-50 duels, isn't he? You'd have
yeah,
to imagine. And so I don't know how equal that game would be. And plus also at the moment there's such support for like the Lionesses. If they went up against the men's team and they did get destroyed, and you'd have to think I don't think it'd be like 10-0 or anything like that, to be honest. I
Well,
mean, because England can't score, but
well, the American women went up against under 15s team and lost 5-2.
did they?
Yeah, and that's an under-15s team.
I never knew that. When was that?
I'll ask my favourite friend, Google.
I never knew that match even happened, you know? You see, that's not a great look, is it, for the women's game? That's just bad. If to have, because they're the world champions, multiple-time world champions, they are the gold standard, the US team.
Yeah.
So if the US women lost to under 15s men's, I mean,
think in 2017.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, undeniably, the women's game has kicked on since then over the past 5 years. So I don't know. Perhaps they could beat them and struggle against the under 16s now. I don't know. It's gonna look. Listen, I love women's sport. I love women's wrestling. I love the fact that women's football has exploded. I want it to keep growing and keep continuing. I love watching England, and I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
I will watch England tiddlywinks. I will watch England whatever. So being able to watch England compete in another World Cup or another Euros, like the Women's World Cup's going to be coming up. Is it next year? Like everyone's going to be super into that.
About midway through, I've actually got a good question for you.
Yeah.
What Olympic sport do you think you would be good at?
Yeah, we were talking about this during the Olympic streams. What's your answer first? Because I've got an answer.
Curling. I'll be a great brusher.
So you're thinking of including the winter sports as well?
Oh, it's winter, isn't it? Bowls then. Anything to do with?
I don't think bowls is an Olympic sport, is it? I'm just trying to. The only reason I only say that because I can't remember seeing it when we did the Olympic streams, but I could have totally missed bowls, but I don't think it is. My guess is it's not. My answer would probably be shooting. And the reason why I would say that is I've actually never shot a gun in my life, but I feel like I don't really know how much skill that takes. Like running the quickest, I know I can't do that. Jumping the highest, I definitely can't do that. Jumping the furthest, I definitely can't do that. Throwing the shot put the furthest, I can't do that. I don't know if I can do shooting a gun because I've never done it. And I feel like just looking down the thing and going, pop, like I feel like I've seen enough movies. I've seen enough.
What happens in movies is real.
That's it, isn't it? I feel like, do you know what I mean? I feel like, yeah, I should be able to do that. So I'd go with that. It's probably a lot harder than it looks, isn't it? It's probably horrific, but
well, have you got good hand-eye coordination?
Oh, no, not really. But I feel like I probably stand a better chance of achieving something in shooting than I would if I was in the 100 meters. I mean, I might as well not go. Do you know what I mean? If I'm doing anything that's track and field, I might as well just send the kid from down the street. Like it's not. I ain't even going to be competitive.
Get my fake beard and a beanie. That can be
I feel like
days.
With shooting, I know what I need to do, and I don't understand. Like I don't understand how it's an Olympic sport. If I'm being honest. Not this one, not that one. I don't need the one where you've got to be like proper following the. I ain't doing
the bird
that.
thing, yeah.
Forget that. I'm talking about the one where you're in the range and the target doesn't move, and you just literally like look at it and go bang. Boom. Like I don't get how that's an Olympic sport. But
it's the same with archery, isn't it? Like archery's the same.
Yeah, but the thing with archery is that you do need to angle that, don't you? I was watching like because it's obviously not just straight like with a gun. It's I mean maybe guns not, maybe guns do have to be like a few millimeters up, or I have no idea. But with archery, I was watching them and like they proper do have to change the angle that they're shooting the arrows.
You also have to be careful of the wind as well.
Wind. I can't imagine the shooting is indoors, so there's no wind.
Oh yeah. So you don't have to watch the bullet for that.
There's no wind. The target doesn't move, right? I actually watched a whole session of shooting. It's over super quick, you know. It's like the shooting indoors does not take very long. I mean, it's just you just spend all your time in the athletes' village, and we all know what happens there. Yeah. So
they get it on. Or they all get it on.
to be having a fantastic time. So you're going to be going partying. And then, like, you know, you pick up your gun, you go off to the range, pop, 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 and gold medal. I mean, done.
I like that. Gold medal.
I have got this worked out. I have got this worked out. None of that sweating profusely, trying to work out your start and all this kind of stuff, and faffing around in the swimming pool. You know, I bet like all those people are like nervous and shattered, and not the shooters. Shooters just rock up, pop, 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 and that's it. Gold medal.
I just like how you just rock up like pop, pop, pop.
Pop, 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 that's it. Done. Gold medal. Thank you very much. Come back a national hero. Win the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. And all I did was get my rocks off in the athletes' village. So yeah, I definitely lean that way. But I do like the idea of bowls. Like if you wanted to get into like competitive sports, like that's one that you can still do.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
It's a part of the Commonwealth, as James said, not the Olympics.
The door is not closed. There's still chance for us.
Yeah.
We can still be Olympic heroes.
We can.
Commonwealth heroes, you know, we could do bowls, we could do I think even shooters are quite old, you know. I don't think you've got to be like in your 16s or whatever. I think like because like obviously our days for doing gymnastics are over.
I don't know.
They're gone, mate. Let it go. Again, I know you've got the leotards on underneath, but let it go.
I just want to feel my youth again, Daze. That's all it is. James has said
it's your youth.
Oh, they're all locked in the basement. James has said you would get banned for cheating in weightlifting because you'll be lifting plastic plates.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I definitely wouldn't stand a chance. I wouldn't stand a chance with the flipping bar if there wasn't even any weights on the end of it, let alone anything else.
Well, the actual bars are like 20 kilograms, I think it is.
Yeah, I'm out at that point. I'm getting red lights already just when there's a bar on stage. So, do you know what I mean?
Well, I've got one in my room and I need to take it down, but I just can't lift it.
I do actually really want that. I mean, I'm so conscious of like streaming all the time and like being unhealthy. Like that really is a concern for me because when I worked in retail, I was running around all the time and like you're constantly lifting boxes and you're constantly like just working and doing things. I mean, even if it's not like lifting, it's just cardio. I mean, just going up and down stairs. I used to work in a store that had 4 floors. And like you could go onto the shop floor and go up escalators, but most of the time you use the back stairwell to get to the floor you needed to go to. And so it was just running up and down stairs all the time. And you didn't even think about it. It's like, oh, I need to go to the second floor. Off you go. And it's just even little things like that, which just are not a part of my life anymore, that make me go, oh man, this could all unravel very quickly.
Yeah.
Like the rest of my body could go the same way that my beard has gone. Do you know what I mean? Like it could just be old and disheveled very quick. So yeah, I do. I'm not someone that's going to be able to like or want to go to a gym. I don't want to do that because I just won't do that. I won't. I know that I'll wake up and be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. That will be my mentality. I need it here really. So yeah, that's kind of on my agenda.
Oh, we know what to get him for Christmas, along with the little hard thing he wants to play with in his hand. We need a homemade gym.
Absolutely, yeah. Just I reckon I might as well just get a couple of dumbbells. Do you know what I mean? Then I can do Let's Get Physical, work out to some of the music videos. Let's get physical. Come on, wanna get physical.
To be fair, you could do it on the stream as well, without people knowing.
Or even with people watching, just like, guys, this promo is insane. Look at this. Oh my God, I am loving this from Roman Reigns. Sammy. Yes. Yeah. At the end, you're like,
proper burning.
Could be the way forward, that could, you know.
Still join that.
Mm-hmm. Be brilliant when the yes chants were really going, and like, you know, you had a couple of like, I don't know, 10 kg dumbbells in your hand. Ugh. Just getting ripped.
Just
Yeah, I mean, that'll never happen for me, but it's good to have a dream, isn't it?
it's not that you need to be ripped, just more, what's
Just
the best way to put it, healthier.
Just healthier, yeah. Just need to make sure that you know, I can still get up off this couch.
Oh, I know that feeling. I recently gained, so I was 9 stone. I'm now either on the borderline of 15 stone or 14 stone. So I put a lot of weight on, and I know exactly what you feel like. I get tired walking up and down the stairs, making a cup of tea.
Yeah, I think it's. I find, I mean, like, I'm someone that doesn't really struggle with like bad mental health or anything like that. I'm very fortunate in that regard. But I do find that, like, if I really start to feel unhealthy, if I start to feel sluggish, if I start to feel like I'm not in some sort of a decent shape, I do find then that like it really starts bothering me, and I really start feeling like, you
May
know,
I
you've got
say, round is a perfect shape.
yeah, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
More to love.
Yeah, definitely more to love. You give the better hugs.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's something that it's constantly like, don't let yourself slip too much. That's what it is. I always feel like I'm on the edge. Don't let yourself slip too much, kind of a thing. Christmas can be a nightmare, obviously.
Well, they say Christmas is the best time to start working out, because you have people working out, like I say, in May for a summer body. But if you're working out in November, December time, by the
Yeah.
time, and you keep doing it all the way through, by the time you get to summer, your body's going to be absolutely amazing.
I've had a couple of periods in my life where I have tried to do working out. I did it when I was at work, and I really got onto like a health kick. And so I was like, I'm going to go to the gym. And I actually went to a boxing gym, and I did a little bit of like boxing, which was amazing. Loved it. Didn't do loads, but just like, you know, working pads and things like that. But also, obviously, like, you know, that wasn't all the time. You had to pay extra for that. But it was like I would go and I'd just use like the gym and everything, and I loved that. But I ended up moving, and I moved away from that area. I think if I'd have stayed there, that is something I really would have committed to, and I did really enjoy it. But with my job, I mean, I lived in 2 different places in Birmingham. I lived in Wolverhampton. I lived in Ipswich. I lived in Milton Keynes. I lived in Southampton. I obviously, when I first started, still lived at home in Stourbridge. So, I mean, I must have moved to like 6 or 7 different places with my job. And so that was really an undoing for me, was that I could never really get settled anywhere, you know?
Yeah, yeah, because usually you get settled and you find that one place that you want to work out at all the time. But if you're going to keep
Yeah.
moving, you can never get settled into one gym.
The irony is that by far, by a country mile, since I moved back here, this is the most settled I have been since my early 20s, like in my late teens. This is the most settled I've been, and we are miles from anywhere. I mean, I am in the countryside.
So, yeah. Well,
So
you've got
there is.
sheep. You can chase
I
the
got
sheep.
I could pick them up.
Yeah, exactly. Use what's in your environment.
Absolutely.
I do like, as long as that's all you're doing with them.
Tell you what, you do well to
Pick up a cow.
do well to budge one of them, wouldn't you?
I do actually have a question, because you were talking about boxing. Would you never do like a YouTube boxing event for the right amount of money?
We that did come up in conversation. I think if it was to be honest, I watched the boxing event that had obviously KSI having a couple of fights, and I was watching some interviews with the people on the undercards, and Sam Hyde. I don't know if you remember it, but Sam Hyde was the Irish guy.
Yeah, the crazy one.
The leprechauns are coming for you, boy. The leprechauns are coming. He was so much fun. But I saw an interview with him where he was trying to be all like, you know, funny and everything. But the interview kept going so long, he ended up slipping out of character.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, he was just outside smoking. And he was just chatting to the guy that was filming. And he was saying, like, I'll never do this again. And he was like, how come? He went, it's just like, the pay is, next to nothing. It's more about exposure. It's such a big event that it's going to get my name out there, like maybe to people that haven't seen me, whatever. But the amount of work it takes to get your body ready to do such a thing, like your life kind of goes on hold for several months as you get yourself into, boxing training, into some kind of physical shape. And then you go and do the event and the pay's not that great. But the exposure is really good. Yeah. So my feelings would be, I mean, I would look at it if the money was something that was really going to help.
Oh,
you know what I mean? If an offer came in and you're like, right, that's going to really help me towards a deposit for a house or whatever it might be, something that's going to really like affect your life, then you would you might have a look at it. The only downside is I've got no illusion whatsoever that I would lose, because I have no, other than the little bit of boxing I did, I have no previous experience.
Well, you watch boxing, so that's technically experience.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of can watch others and see what they're going for and know what they should do. But I'm very aware that knowing something and then getting your body to do it,
it's completely different.
I mean, like, I know that I need to run 100 meters in under 10 seconds, but the legs aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's equally like, I know, like, some of the great combos and things, some of the little traps you can set and stuff like that. The hand speed is not going to be there. The power is certainly not there. I'll be the first to admit that.
Are you sure? I mean, looking at that physique.
Oh, yeah. This is deceptive, though. This is deceptive.
You can tell just a little bit.
It's deceptive because I'm not as strong as I look, to be honest, and I don't even look strong. So that's why it's deceptive. But it's that offer would never come in anyway, because obviously we're kind of off a bit of a niche. We're off to the side. We kind of stay away from it.
It doesn't really matter. Like some of the YouTubers that were on the last card, the Daze Swingler card.
Yeah,
you've got more followers in, like the majority of them. I know obviously it shouldn't matter that way, but
that is a factor, I suppose.
Yeah, they are going to look at that and be like, got more subscribers than him. Got more subscribers than him. He might bring more people in to the eyes on the product.
Well, I would go into it very aware that you could lose, and that's obviously going to be a tricky thing to overcome, if you will. I think you can overcome it. There's ways of overcoming it, of course.
Wouldn't you make your mindset like, I can lose this, so I need to train harder and harder and harder?
Oh yeah, you would do that. Of course you would, and you would train for it, and you would really go for it, and you'd give it everything. I mean, you would live it. I mean, you would wake up 5 a.m, go running. You would get a trainer. You would throw yourself 100% into it and do as much as you could do. But I'm still very aware that at the end of that process, in sport, as we know, there is no guarantees of anything. Yeah. And so everyone that agrees to take one of those fights knows that they can absolutely lose it, and would have to weigh up, right, what would that mean in the aftermath? Now, for me personally, I don't think it would really mean that much, because, as we said, we're kind of niche. We're over to the side. We're a wrestling channel. That's a niche market anyway. So I don't think it would really it wouldn't bother me. That wouldn't affect me in the slightest. That wouldn't be something that I'd lie awake at night thinking about. But the money would need to be something that I would think, well, that's why I did it. Why did you do it? Well, you did it for the experience, but you did it because it really flipping helped with that deposit. And I think if it was that, then that would be enough for me. That would be fine. That would be enough. But I don't there won't be any offers or anything like that. There never has been. I don't expect there ever will be. And even if there was, just judging by what Sam Hyde said, I don't think the money's all that, to be honest. I think they pay you relatively low because they promise you the exposure.
I think the exposure is quite good.
It's sizable, yeah.
The guy that was fighting Jay Swindler, he put some effort into his training. Not as much as Jay, but like as soon as he came on, he was funny as, and it put more people onto him, like
Yeah.
how funny he actually was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The exposure would be great. Not that great for a niche wrestling channel, though. Do you know what I mean?
It could do.
If
Because
you, but
I
if
heard
I think
Simon Miller was trying to get one of those cards.
was he?
Yeah, it was either the MMA one they did a couple years ago, or it was one of the recent boxing events.
Well, you see, the thing is, if he went on it, it would be interesting because obviously he's jacked. He's a wrestler, and there's a narrative, and he's part of a big channel as well.
Yeah.
1.9 million or whatever
2
it is
mil.
now.
It's over 2
2
mil.
mil is it? Okay, 2
Block
mil.
Culture's over 2 mil.
So 2 million subscriber channel. He's a massive part of that, of course. He's jacked, and like I feel like there's definitely stuff that you can do there with him. I don't know what it would do for him afterwards, but I think his personal channel is all about nutrition, isn't it?
Nutrition, fitness, and
Yeah,
sometimes his wrestling matches.
yeah. I feel like that is not as niche as it. I feel like that is something that pretty much everyone thinks about is their fitness and their nutrition. So I think actually if he did it, it makes a lot of sense. Why? Because he looks great, but the boost that the exposure would give him, I think would work for his personal channel, maybe not so much for the What Culture Wrestling one.
Yeah, it's kind of true. But then, like, where What Culture goes out in many different forms, doesn't it? You've got What Culture Gaming, What Culture Horror.
Yeah, he's not on those though, is he? Is he just the wrestling, or does he do the gaming and the horror and everything?
He
I don't watch
sometimes
the others.
appears on the gaming. It's not very
Okay.
often, but he's mainly
Okay.
on the wrestling.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense for him to do it because he just looks. It'd be an interesting challenge, wouldn't he, for someone? So, yeah. If I signed up for it, I'd probably get lumped with him, and then I'd be like, "Oh, god damn it!"
At least I get to meet Simon Miller.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I know who's going up and who's going down.
Well, to be fair, they are trying to make the fights more. Oh, what's the word? Proper.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get the mixed matches.
I thought the card that I watched was very good. You watched the last one, didn't you? And said you enjoyed it.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, really
Good.
enjoyed it.
Good.
The knockout Jace Windler did was unbelievable.
Yeah. Who's that one guy? The Slim? Is it Slim?
Slim, yeah. Slim
was
versus
he on?
He versus Ryan Taylor, and that was a proper rivalry.
Yeah, and did he win?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got split decision, I think.
Okay.
Talking about split decisions, the guy that Jay was fighting, like obviously you got all your predictions. He turned around and was asked, "Oh, what's your prediction?" He was like, "Oh, split decision, me."
And that's what he got. Did
No,
he get that?
he got knocked out.
Oh.
Sherdley's got knocked out. Like the guy who said, "Oh, split decision, me."
Okay.
But everyone was confused because no one in their right mind, especially like boxers, would say a split decision because you want to say a first round knockout, second round knockout.
Yeah. Well, I can understand him not thinking that he's, he'll know himself, and if he knows that his skill set is not power and knocking someone out, I can understand him saying, no, let me be clear, my plan is I want to take this the distance. Like, my strength is to take it to the deep water. So I could understand him, because if you tell people you're going to knock someone out and then you don't do it, it's kind of a little bit like, yeah, he won, but he didn't get the knockout he was looking for.
Yeah.
I actually think it's probably quite wise to say, yeah, I'm going to win. Of course I'm going to win. But I know what my strengths are. I know what my weaknesses are. And I want to make him pay. I'm going to take this into the deep waters. You can word it that way, which is basically a way of saying, I don't have any power. If I'm going to win, it's going to have to be a decision. But you don't say that, do you? Of course.
Well, there was a guy on the card called JMX. He fought on the first ever the KSI Joe Weller boxing card. That happened.
Oh, yeah.
And he kept saying to the guy that he was fighting, after 2 weeks' notice as well, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out." But the guy lasted all 3 rounds. He got knocked out in the third, sorry, but he dropped JMX in the third round.
Oh, really? So that guy lost?
JMX won in the end because he knocked him out,
Oh, okay.
but the guy put up such a performance, his stock also rose because of the performance he put on.
Yeah, that would be, I suppose, the second best outcome if you're going to lose. Do you know what I mean? If you are like, obviously, ideally you want to win.
Yeah.
But if you are going to lose, at least do it in a heroic way.
Putting on a good performance.
Where you put on a good performance and it's like real close, and you're like, if next time I would, if we did it all just one more time, I would. Yeah, that's probably the best you could hope for. So.
Well, the next card is Hasim Jr. versus Victor Belfort.
Yeah, I actually thought that was this card.
I don't know why it got cancelled. I think it was something to do with Belfort. I think.
Right.
Hi, Sonny.
Hello, Sonny. Hope you're well. Hope you're well, my friends. Hope Timmy's is good.
Yeah. How is Timmy today? Is he okay?
Yeah. I feel like we've touched a lot of subjects here, you know.
And a lot of hearts.
Oh, well, that was always guaranteed.
Yeah.
That was
good
always
job. We're
guaranteed.
not touching other places.
Indeed. Is there any other like questions that have come in at all for us to?
Not really.
Okay.
Usually James just shouts at me if he's got a question.
Everyone knows everything. That's where we are. I do always feel that way, like, because we stream, or I stream so much and I answer so many questions. I do always think, like, what is there left to ask? Like, what else is there? I mean, I feel like we've absolutely covered everything. I mean, there's not really much going on in the world of Bray at the moment, not until tomorrow. Wrestling news seems a little bit quiet, but as James pointed out, you know, the sad news about Kevin Nash seems to be the biggest story today. Obviously, Prime Minister is the big news in the UK. And yeah, it's kind of.
Sam asked a very great question. Did you take a poop today?
Did I take poop today?
Yeah.
I haven't today, actually. No, I haven't taken poop today.
Oh,
yeah, I've no doubt it will happen. No doubt it will happen. I tend to try and go to the toilet just before streams, actually, which probably is not that surprising considering a lot of the streams tend to run for, you know, quite a while.
Oh, well, I'm quite the opposite. If I'm doing a football stream, I poop at halftime.
Do you?
Yeah, I poop at halftime.
And that's amazing because you don't actually leave the stream at any point either, do you? You literally just stay.
Oh, yeah, they watch me. They watch me.
Yeah.
They advise me out, wipe my ass.
Yeah, you take the laptop with you, don't you, as you go into the bathroom? Yeah. I've heard about this. Yeah. I was going to try and catch it, actually.
No, the OnlyFans content is going through the roof.
Yeah. How are the football streams going?
All right, actually, if I could get the laptop to work. When it doesn't want to take a shit on me. Or me take a shit on it.
Shit on it. Do you find certain games do better than others?
I'm currently thinking the women's football, unless it was just because it was USA, that got, like, for me, just about 800 views for USA England.
That's good. Yeah.
Which it's quite good, where the others are just touch 100. So unless it was because it was the women's American team.
Yeah.
James is also happy that you swore.
Did I swear?
You might have said shit.
Did I? Oh my God. Guys, I want to apologize. That was not me. The stream was hacked. But it might have been that it was the women US, because they are, I believe, a big deal in America, because obviously anything that's successful, people gravitate towards. So, you know, the fact that the women's team is way more successful than the men's, I think means that they get a lot more like sponsorship opportunities. I think their visibility is greater. I feel like if you was to ask the average person in America to name a football player out of the men's or the women's team, I've got to think that Megan Rapinoe or Alex Morgan, is it? I've got to think they've got to stand a good chance of being mentioned above Pulisic.
Or Dennis Rodman's daughter.
I didn't even know she played.
Yeah, she plays for the actual American team.
Ah, that's interesting. That's it. I didn't know that.
A lot of people are saying Alicia Learman because she's a half decent looking woman in the Aston
Who?
Villa team. Alicia Learman.
Never heard of her. That's
Google her.
That's what a lot of people are saying. Is it Alicia Learman?
Oh yeah.
So if you went to America and asked an average person, name me a US soccer player.
She's not even American. She's Swedish, I think. She plays for the Aston Villa Women's.
Okay.
If you Google her, you'll find out why people are thingied by her.
Well, I've just got an attractive lady in my mind.
Yes,
Looks a lot like Linda McMahon.
Close, she's like an inch worse than Linda.
Shorter. Inch shorter. She's Linda, but just an inch shorter. Exactly identical. Just 1 inch short. It's amazing. It is amazing. Very good. Very good. So have you got any plans? Any more plans for this evening?
There's a case I'm watching, like a true crime trial at the minute, which I've been very interested in about it.
What's that?
It's I was watching it while watching the football. It's I can't actually pronounce it, thingy, but the guy's called Darrell Brooks. He ran over like a parade in America somewhere, and he killed 6 people and injured about 60 people. He is representing himself, and what else is there? And he just did his opening statement today. It's very frustrating.
So hang on, so this is like a real
trial.
When you said real trial, real crime, I thought you meant it was a series that had been made on Netflix. But you're talking about watching the actual trial.
Actually, watching the actual trial on YouTube, yeah.
Oh my God, that is next level true crime.
I like my true crime.
That is so true and so crime as well. That is like that. I didn't even know that you could do that.
Oh yeah, it's there was a killer called Nicholas Cruz who just got sentenced. I think it was like last week, and his trial was all over YouTube.
Wow! Wouldn't you just wait for the series? It'll just give you the highlights.
Yes and no,
and a bit of the story as well. There'll be some actors and reconstructions, and that's you don't get that in court, do you?
I mean, I could watch that, and then if someone asks or say they know a lot about the trial, and if I've sat and watched the full thing, I could be like, well, I know more than you because I watched everything.
When is that ever coming up in conversation?
With my friend group, quite a lot.
Are you in a true crime friend group?
Some of them like it. Some of them don't.
Do you sit there whilst the trial's on going, right, that's a key bit of information, guys. I'm thinking that he definitely was at the scene at the time. Send.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Sometimes,
like a WhatsApp?
Yeah. Sometimes,
yeah. I can believe. Yeah. I could see the appeal of that. Oh my God, you need to get on a jury. You would flipping love it, wouldn't you?
Oh, it depends. Because if it was a murderer, I would end up like shouting, "You fucking did it!"
I was on a jury, you know.
Oh yeah, because here in England we have to do jury duty.
Yeah. Do they not do it in America?
I think so, yeah. But I'm not actually sure.
I had it come through when I was relatively young, so I don't know what age it is that you have to do it, but like I don't say 18 or something. I reckon I must have been 19, maybe 20. So I was not that old. I mean, it was really like I couldn't believe I was like already. Like I was like, my God, because I didn't know anyone that had ever been. So for me to like go so young, I was like, oh my God, I'm being picked on. So I ended up going, and first thing you do is they say like take a book basically, because it's going to be, a lot of sitting around and waiting. So I remember I took a book. I can't remember what I took, but I took a book, and I was sat there, I was just reading this book. I think it was a wrestling book, actually. I'm sure it was a wrestling book. I was reading someone's biography. And so I was just sitting like reading this, and then finally we got a case, and the case was I can't really give you too many. I can't give you names or anything because I obviously can't remember them now. But the case was that a Argos warehouse had been burgled and a load of stuff had been stolen, and it was armed robbery, and they had actually got a gun and pointed it at the security guards that were managing, like watching over, and tied them all up and all this kind of stuff, and stole the stuff, put it in the van, drove away. No one was killed or anything, but obviously scary experience. And that was the case. And what was really interesting was that the guilt of the one guy was pretty much not in doubt. Like they'd got the car and they'd tracked his movements, and like, you know, it's pretty much he was there. What was really interesting and the little curveball was that he had been on the phone as like they were approaching the warehouse to his brother. His brother was the security guard.
So it was an inside job.
So that was the trial, basically. Was the brother in on it or not? And really, we found him guilty in the end, and I was the one that had to say it.
Oh, were you the foreman?
Yeah, I was the foreman. No one wanted to be the foreman, right? Everyone was quite timid about it, and I was like, "Well, I'll do it." Yeah. So I was like, "Yeah, I don't mind doing it. I don't mind saying it." And so I was the foreman that delivered the verdict. And I remember that everyone was in pretty much agreement that he was guilty, apart from this one guy. And it took us a little while to like talk it over, and for this one guy to kind of come around. And that's always stuck with me, you know. It's always stuck with me that he had that doubt. And it's always stuck with me because I think if someone else has got doubt, it gives you doubt then.
Yeah.
But the key thing was he made that phone call, right? And what the case rested on was, why would he call him as he's going to the warehouse if he's not telling him what he's about to do?
Yeah, 100% he was in on it.
Yeah, I mean that's what it came down to basically. But the defense made a really, really good argument. Their argument was, in order to find someone guilty, you have to say without any doubt, beyond reasonable doubt, any reasonable doubt that they did it. Can you say that? And this
was
is
that
what it
in the
rested
jury
on. Yeah,
itself?
it was really interesting, and I do still think about it because we found him guilty, but we found him guilty because of the fact the phone call had been made, and he was on his way to the warehouse, and the security guard was his brother. No one was hurt; they were just tied up, right? And you know, seemingly they got in and did the robbery, and then they went and everything. And so, I mean, if it looks and it feels like an inside job, then it's
100% an inside job.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, yeah, but the fact this one guy had that doubt makes you go, is it beyond reasonable doubt?
It could be.
I don't. It's really hard. Really hard. This is why I'm not sure where I sit with jury trials, because I was like an 18, 19-year-old kid, and you're asking me to make that decision.
Well,
Like,
it's what we have. Like, if you're working in the UK, for anyone that's not from the UK, you get jury duty. So if you're not working or anything like that, you won't ever get asked to go to jury duty.
yeah. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's not something that haunts me because I feel comfortable that he did it. Like, I feel comfortable that he did it. But it's something that I don't know. You'll never truly know, will you? You'll never truly know.
Dark Knight has said a great Disney show that is sort of like true crime. It's called Only Murders in the Building.
Okay.
It's got Martin Short, Selena Gomez, and what's he called? He was in Cheaper by the Dozen. I forgot his name.
Steve Martin.
Yeah, Steve Martin.
Check me out with my film knowledge.
Oh, smashed it out the park.
Next level. Next level.
Next level.
I need to shoot in 10 minutes.
We have been going for like almost 2 hours, so we can.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I know I've got something in 10 minutes, so I wanted to say that so we could get any final thoughts or questions through.
Yeah, get them through. James has asked if you've seen the tweet of Logan Paul training with Shawn Michaels.
Yes, I can't remember where I saw it. I can't remember if someone sent it or if I stumbled across it. I think someone sent it. Yeah, I did. I mean, my thoughts on that are that they're going to be working quite hard to make people believe in Logan Paul, and like everyone's got a lot of affection for Shawn, and oh my God, he's training Logan. That must mean that Logan's going to be amazing again because Shawn's doing one-on-one training with him, and you know, it gets it out there that Logan's putting the work in. It connects him to a legend, and it just kind of brings a bit of maybe credibility to Logan's title.
Hasn't he already been training with Drew Gulak and someone else? Someone else who's a great wrestler. I think it was Sean Waltman, but I might be wrong.
Yes, I can't say I've seen pictures of him training before, but I can't say I've seen him with someone of note. I can't say I've seen a picture of Logan and Sean Waltman standing side by side training. Yeah. So as I said, like these images feel, I don't know, call me skeptical or whatever, but they feel a bit propaganda.
Yeah, that could be, but like if he is getting trained by someone like Drew Gulak, like who else would you want to train you? Like,
oh no, yeah, Drew Gulak training you is absolutely fantastic. Oh, but it goes back to my point of I don't remember seeing those pictures, and so that makes me think that Drew Gulak's training is going to be very effective, but pictures of him training with Shawn are going to play better to casuals.
I agree. Awesome stream. Gutted I wasn't there, but amazing job without me. That's Dave. It's fine, Dave.
Oh, Dave, yeah. I was gutted that Dave couldn't join us. Would have been a great conversation. But listen, if anyone understands technical difficulties, it's Shaboy. Yeah. So, I totally understand.
Oh, well, I'm happy you were here, Dave. I've got one-on-one time with Daze, so that's...
me and Dave have had plenty one-on-one time anyway, so you needed a bit catching up.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I'm still sort of new to the community.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's been a good chat as well. Like, what are your plans for like this podcast? How are you and Dave going to like take this forward? Are you bringing guests on every week? Is it wrestling focused or?
It starts off wrestling focused, but with like you saw, it was hardly wrestling, and it we just talked and just shot shit pretty much.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and get guests on, but like sometimes, obviously, it's not always possible to get people on.
Best thing you can do, and I am rubbish at this. I am rubbish at it. But what you should do is once this is finished, you should go through and pick out the clips. And like, if we have a conversation about like, I don't know, maybe you want to pull out the MJF conversation and William Regal. Maybe you want to pull out the women's sport conversation. Perhaps you want to pull out the whatever, but you could actually get 5-6 videos, if not more, out of the conversations that you have, which is great extra content, but also it's a good conversation start because obviously everyone's got their own thoughts about that MJF segment. Everyone's got their own thoughts about women's sport, and
James wants us to clip you saying shit.
I never said it, James. So I mean, like they won't be able to find it. Unfortunately, it was a bit of interview. It was you. you muttered it to yourself, and then you thought I said it. That's what happened.
Christian James, never. He would not do such a thought.
Christian James, Christian Chadwick. Oh, Christian Chadwick, Chadwick the Christian. Oh, this is what it is now. Wrestling reviews with Chadwick the Christian. Oh my God, that'd be the best. James Christian. Yeah, no, Love it. Love it. And is it going to be every week at a certain time, or?
It depends when Dave's off work, really. Usually it's 9 o'clock on either Tuesday or Wednesday, or Thursday, sorry.
It's whenever the sailors are out at sea, isn't it, that he's got a lot of spare time?
Yeah. He's always down the docks, Dave is.
Yeah.
Once
a lot of the boats are actually off doing whatever they do at sea, I think Dave's pretty free. But if the docks are full, then so is Dave.
That's tickled me a bit too much. That like James down with not James, Melissa, Dave.
Yeah, James could be down there giving out prayers.
Yeah,
holding a sermon.
They call him Docking Dave.
Very good. Very good.
Because what we tend to do is we try and keep it before, like if we do it on Tuesday before your podcast as a warm up.
Yeah.
And then it comes to yours. So if it's on a Thursday, we try and keep it before a member stream if you have one.
Yeah, member streams are a nightmare. That's a problem. It's a problem because I always go into it thinking, well, what do we do? What do we talk about? I mean, in all fairness, we've just done 2 hours here.
Yeah, and we're just talk shit.
I probably shouldn't be thinking that way, but I do always tend to go into streams thinking, right, what are we going to be talking about? Like I tend to have notes when I do a stream. They're never extensive, and sometimes I even show them, but it's always just a few key points to touch on. Going into like a member stream, I mean, like today, I mean, we could touch on like Kevin Nash's son, but you know, I mean, you don't want to touch on that subject too long. Of course, it's a real downer, and there's just not really much else going on in the world of wrestling. Hence why we haven't really spoke about much apart from a bit of AEW. So you kind of go like, oh man, what is it that you would actually talk about? Like that's it's a bit of a problem. That it's something that I need to work out. Perhaps I don't need to think about it, and I just need to go live and just let people go in the Discord. And
you have varied people in your community, that people that jump in the call as well.
Yeah.
They will carry the conversation. Pretty much. We have one final question from Melissa. When are you watching the Fiend movie?
Yeah, great question. Oh man, I felt so bad about that. I felt bad about it because I ripped into it thinking it was like a big production, and then it turned out to be a fan-made film.
It's a masterpiece.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, we did a watch along in my Discord, and it was.
Did you? Oh, very good. It's proper long, isn't it? It's not like a half an hour job.
About an hour and 20 minutes, a normal movie.
Hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Is it quite the story, is it?
You'll have to watch it and find out.
Okay.
No spoilers on this channel.
No, I don't want spoilers. Listen, I wish I could give you a date as to when I'll get around to watching it, but to be honest, I'm so engrossed and genuinely engrossed in what's happening with Bray at the moment that it's hard to find time.
Spoil it for you. My movie will spoil it for you.
Oh, that's going to tell me where everything's going, is it?
I'm going to say yes, but the answer is no.
Okay.
You've been thinking of ideas for the member stream. Members, Fiend watch along.
Maybe. I think it would be very popular.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Did you say you had to go at 12?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you. Just Nick.
I mean, you can just call me Nick.
Just Nick.
Yeah, just Nick. Just Nick.
Just Nick. Yeah, just Nick. Just Nick. At the bottom, it says Almighty Nick. Is that your brother? Is this your brother's computer or something?
It's my brother's cousin's sons.
All right. You have to introduce us to Almighty Nick at some point.
I've got Almighty Unicorn, if that's any good.
Listen, I don't need to see that. You put that away, young man, yeah?
Thank you everyone for coming. Until next time, toodle pip.